Well, anyway, my name's Leonatics, and welcome to another fine adventure in Paladins, Champions of the Realm. It's a game from High Res, and I have to say, it's pretty awesome. Yesterday during my stream, I did like a quick introduction to one of the main mechanics of the game, which is cards, but I didn't like the way it turned out. So I think I'm probably just gonna go through it again real quick, just in case there's any new people in the stream, and you'll be able to at least understand some of the core concepts of the game. Because this game, Paladins, Champions of the Realm, I'm just gonna call it Paladins from now on. It's very similar to two other games you may have heard of: Overwatch and Battleborn. Overwatch made by Activision, Battleborn made by Gearbox, and in which it's like a shooter game but with characters, kind of like Team Fortress 2. But one of the mechanics that sets Paladin apart from the other two games is the card mechanic. Basically, if you look at the screen right now, these are the champions right now. These aren't all the champions because, you know, it's still in closed beta, it's still adding stuff. But here are the champions, and you see how it says collected there? Basically, each champion has cards to it. Now, what are these cards? As you can see on this screen, I picked Barrack. I'm going to show you some of his cards. These are what cards do. Basically, during the game, you level up. You level up 5 times. And every time you level up, it's randomly chosen 3 cards. And of those 3 cards, you could pick one, and that's the card you get when you level up. These cards add abilities or passives, not only to your character, but to some of your abilities, depending. Because every character in this game not only can, it's a shooter game, so they go pew pew, but they also have abilities. So, for example, the character I just picked, Barrack, he could summon a turret like an engineer, put up a shield wall, have like a sprint to rocket boots away, a whole bunch of stuff. But here are some of his cards. For example, Barricade. It adds health to his shield wall, so it adds something to one of his abilities. Or it could reduce cooldown of one of his abilities. But that's not the only ones. Like if you look at, I'm trying to find one that doesn't have an ability so that you can see how it works. For example, not all of them work on abilities. For example, Turret is none of his ability, but some of the cards affect their weapons, their main gun, their shooting thing, because it's a shooter. So this one, for example, this card, it affects his weapons. So it doesn't affect any of his abilities, but it adds his weapons. And there are also abilities like this one, Overcome, that does not affect his weapon and does not affect ability, but rather affect the character itself, take 50% damage. So every card, and since every card adds something to your character so that you could play him in a different way. And also, not only does it add something to your character, because as I said, you level up 5 times and you could pick a card each time. The cards are chosen at random, the 3 cards you get. So every game is different, in which you don't have to build your character different each game. So one game I could build a turret build where I just pop 2 turrets and they're shooting fire and all this stuff. But then another game I could put a shield wall build, and I have to play it differently depending on the build. So it adds even 2 characters. Like if I'm playing Barrack and the enemy team has a Barrack, we're still gonna play them differently depending on how we build them. And one of the cool things about cards is that even though the main part of the card, the meat of it, is how it affects your character adds, there's also some hidden effects. If you look at the bottom, there's this red thing here. That's the damage. When you pick that card, you get more damage. So that's a red thing here. And the green is health. When you pick that card, you get more health. And so basically, not only does the card have an ability or a passive that adds to your character, it also increases your damage and your health, and every card is different, as you can see. But one of the things, if you look in the middle, there's a little white thing here where it says 20 seconds. That's a timer. In this game, if you die, you have a respawn timer and stuff like that, but your cards also have a respawn timer. So if you die and you have a 5-second respawn timer, for example, after you respawn, your card won't be ready yet. And this card, for example, still has 15 more seconds until it reloads and you gain its effect. So for example, if I'm getting sieged and the enemy siege engine's right at my door and I get killed in my base and I spawn, and there's 15 seconds, I spawn and I have a 5-second cooldown. I come up, my card still has 15 seconds to effect. So in those 15 seconds, my turn isn't going to do 60% more damage to the siege engine. So I have to take that into consideration of when, and the more powerful the card, as you can see, a legendary cards a minute, the longer it is. So I also have to take that into consideration that if I die, I also have to remember, okay, my card's not active yet. Maybe I could wait a couple seconds before I jump into the fray so that I gain the ability. So that's the basic thing of cards. Cards have passive or abilities themselves that add on to your character's abilities or your weapons or just your character's stats. That's the basic thing of cards. And every card, no matter what you pick, is going to increase your damage, it's going to increase your health, and it's going to have a cooldown. But as you can see, like I said earlier, this is a legendary card. So the cards aren't all the same. They come in like stages. Here, I'll show you. There's common cards, which are green, rare cards, which are blue, purple cards, which are epic, and legendary cards, which are like the gold, orange. You know, each level is going to be different from the other one, which legendary is going to be more powerful than common, you know, normal stuff you expect from games nowadays. Now, from the screen I just took you see card crafting. It's a very interesting mechanic, because in this game, as you level up, you earn gold. And the gold you can use to purchase chests. And you could also use real life money to purchase crystals to purchase chests. And what chests do is, you can see there's 2 of them. This chest will give you 1 card, but the blue chest gives you 5. The cards it gives you are random. So you could get 5 legendaries, so you get 5 commons, you know, stuff like that. But it's also random, which is not guaranteed to give you a new card. So you can open chests and get 5 new cards, or you can open the chest and get 5 duplicates. And if that happens, don't feel bad and be like, oh my god, I just spent $20 on crystals and bought a whole bunch of chests, and all I got are duplicates, I wasted my money. No, you didn't. Because even though you might feel like, oh, duplicate's useless, it has a purpose, and this is a cool mechanic implemented in this game. Another thing that sets it apart from Overwatch and Battleborn is the card crafting mechanic, which basically, if you have duplicates, you can see here I have 2 common duplicates, 2 rares, 2 epics, and 0 legendary duplicates. You could craft them and to forge something new. So let's say, for example, rare cards. If I had 3 rare duplicates, 3 rare card duplicates, I could choose to craft those 3, and I'm guaranteed to get a new rare. So I craft the 3 duplicates and get a new card. Or if I'm feeling, you know, if I'm feeling lucky, I could save up and wait till I get 5 rare duplicate cards, and I could craft them, you know, and I would get an epic card, which would be a level higher. But the thing that I found, maybe it's just me and I haven't been paying attention, it's not guaranteed to be a new epic, an epic you don't have, so it could be an epic duplicate. But even then, if you level up the card and get an epic duplicate, you could still craft 3, and then maybe you get a new epic, or you save 5 epic duplicates and craft a legendary. So it's very interesting. So even if you get duplicates or new cards, you're still leveling up and progressing your character. Plus, every time you level up, you look at the bottom hand corner, is my progress bar, I'm about to level up, you get a chest. And that chest will, you know, contain cards. And if you win games, sometimes you get chests. So it's very interesting. And just playing, even though you could spend money on this, you could just play the game and collect cards and progress your account and get, you know, better and better. And because there's not really a pay to win feel, because just because a person spends hundreds of dollars and has every card, all the cards already, he can't use every card. Just because if he has all the legendary buck cards and he's playing Barrack, all those legendary cards don't affect him. And when, you know how I said earlier, you level up 5 times, well, the leveling up, every time you level up, you get it depends on what card you get. So you can't get a legendary card at level 1. You only get them at level 5. And you only can get 1, so you can't get, like, pick all the legendary cards. So no matter how much money you spend, it's not gonna really put you in an advantage compared to everybody else. That makes any sense. Well, this is just, you know, a short little vid I thought I'd do before I really started this. You know, I was starting to start streaming at 7, and it's 6:41, so I thought I'd start a little bit early, and just to produce this video to give an idea of card collection and how card crafting and how chess work in this game, because those are 3 core mechanics that set it apart from its counterparts, Overwatch, Battleborn. And what I like about this is that it adds sort of an RPG sort of feeling to your character, because even though your character has abilities and has guns, which the other games have, you could level it up and just adapt your play style depending on game, because like I said, it's based on RNG, which cards you get when you level up, because we still haven't got to construction mode, which is completely different. But in casual play, it's completely RNG. So you could play a game with Barrick, and you could play a game 50 times, and every time you could get different cards. So no matter what, they'll be different. And that's not even talking about going into legendary cards, which can completely change your playstyle. Like for example, Buck has a card where he does 60% more damage if your current health is higher than your target. So you take this card, you want to be constantly healing so that you're constantly ahead of your target in terms of health, and you'll be doing more gun damage. But then he also has this one, which is more tanky, because he could throw down a ring of rock and then he takes 40% less damage, and it'll completely change your playstyle. And it really adds a depth to the characters that you never would have thought if you just got into the game and you didn't look into one of these mechanics. So I got to give it to Iris, because they really did a good job when it came to card stuff. And plus, I might be a little biased, because, you know, as a kid, I watched a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and all this stuff. So all that talk, anything card related, I really enjoy. Like right now, I'm really enjoying Halo 5 just because the rec system is based off of cards. I don't know what it is about cards, but it's really good. So I just think it'd be interesting, because it doesn't matter if you're the best Paladin player ever or you're completely new to the game. The way you play a champion is completely different from someone else's. And you can't just like Google best barrack build ever and build your character like that, or be like, oh my god, I can't play this champion, I'm already so bad because I don't have this card. Because it doesn't matter whether you have a certain card or not, you might not be able to build it in your deck, at least in casual play. This entire talk about cards and the card crafting and the chess is based mostly about casual, because since it's closed beta, we still haven't got constructed yet. But even then, it's more of like a beginner's point of view into how card works. So I think I'll just leave it at that. This is